Yeah, it's recording.
Starting.
Okay.
All right. Good evening and welcome to another session in Materia Medica. Today we're going to deal with a very deep acting polycrest from the animal kingdom. Having touched upon plant, chemical and mineral kingdom, today we decided to take up an animal source. The beauty of animal sources is that in the history of evolution, we all had plants that came first, minerals came after that, minerals and chemicals they developed or they were present in the surface of the earth, and finally animals started developing. And even in that we had the invertebrates, then we had the vertebrates, invertebrates, you had cold-blooded, then warm-blooded. So you see that cuttlefish has a distinct bone. So if I'm not wrong, cuttlefish belongs to mollusca, which is an invertebrate. It doesn't have a vertebral column, but it has a very distinct bone inside. And it's a very interesting, very beautiful animal, and very literally a colorful animal. So, and it's also known as a very prominent female remedy. As we're doing today's drug, we'll also touch upon a few other female remedies for comparison and contrast. So let's hear it from Ankita, and she's prepared very good slides. So sit back. And one more request, if you can't hear the voice or if there is some difficulty in connection, please refresh your screens. If you refresh your screen, the voice will be heard. It's clear to all of us. So don't worry about connection. It's not a bad connection. So just refresh your screens in case you're not able to hear her voice. Otherwise, sit back and enjoy this. It's a very good presentation. Okay, Ankita, over to you.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Very good evening to everyone. In the last session, we did with Lycopodium and Nux worm, and the topic for this week is Sepia officinalis. So I will start with its introduction portion. Sepia is derived from animal kingdom. Its other name is cuttlefish, and it belongs to the family Sepiae, and it was proved by Dr. Henneman. Duration of action is 40 to 50 days. This is a long-acting remedy. Miasmatic background is psora and psychosis, and temperament is nervous. Sepia patient is a chilly patient. It means its problems aggravates from cold. Now, something about the cuttlefish. That's its common name. It has two highly developed eyes, 8 arms which are located around mouth, used to hold and move prey. 2 tentacles are also present which are used to tear and rip any prey. Sepia is well known for their unmatched camouflaging abilities due to leucophores. It reaches sexual maturity between 14 to 18 months of age. Breeding season occurs during spring and summers in Male cuttlefish will display a black and white zebra pattern on their mantle to attract females, and the females will display a uniform grey color to indicate they are ready to mate. The number of fertilized eggs may vary from 100 to 1000 eggs, and the eggs will remain in oviduct of female between 30 to 90 days before they are laid. Now some general introduction about cuttlefish. It is colored brown with a trace of violet. It is also used as dye stuff and protectively secreted by cuttlefish or squid, and which is obtained from the ink sacs. The sacs are extracted from the bodies, then dried to prevent putrefaction. The sacs are then dissolved in dilute alkali and then filtered, precipitated with dilute HCl, and then washed, filtered, and dried. Now, as we know, the bluish ink is used for preparation. It is also used as commonly fished in Mediterranean, including countries like Greece and Spain, means the cuttlefish is edible in these areas. The cuttle bones are commonly sold in the pet bird industry just because of the calcium content. Means the cuttlefish bones are very rich in calcium source. That's why they are used for feeding the birds and pets. It is very commonly used as foodstuff because it has similar taste as octopus and squid and good source of protein and lipids. Cephalopod ink is used for painting, writing, drawing along with potential cosmetic uses. The ink is also used in food industry for its flavor and as food dye. Now the doctrine of signature of cuttlefish. Cuttlefish is an independent creature. It swims alone rather than in groups. That's why sepia will be having natural independence, sets her apart from other women. She likes to be alone. Means she has aversion of company. The cuttlefish is a solitary animal. Sepia woman can be unsociable and averse to company. She does not want to go out. Company aggravates and sepia will ameliorate it when alone. And cuttlefish refuse to nurse or care for their young sepia woman can be found in lacking in maternal instinct. And this is the point which leads to the indifference that we found in sepia lady. Means she has indifference or lack of interest in her own loved ones. It will start from others, but will lead to the indifference or lack of interest in her own people. Just a minute. I have some network issues.
Just tell me when you're ready again, Akita. So you notice, yeah, are we back on? Yeah. So sepia is a remedy which can be compared to natrimure and also to pulsatilla. So all of you keep in mind, and we will discuss this later when the question and answer this session starts. Um, it is also on the physical, intellectual, and the mental plane, and we will see how it progresses. Uh, it's also a remedy which is quite inimical to lachesis, is inimical to pulsatilla. But at the same time, you'll find that when we try to prescribe sepia, all these other remedies also come to our mind. So when you're studying this remedy, keep these other drugs also in mind so that when you have to prescribe, it comes to your, to your notice. Yeah, Ankita, carry on.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Cuttlefish limbs or tentacles are always in motion, dancing in water. They are more comfortable from moving about and worse from any fixed or locked position, such as kneeling at church, standing at any length of time, bending over to wash, or even sitting. Likewise, the sepia lady always feels better from any violent motion, activity, jogging, tennis, swimming in cold water, and she feels better from dancing and worse from being fixed or locked. Means the sepia lady will always want to be working and working. She's we can say that she is a kind of workaholic, just like we studied in Nuxworm. Now the particular symptoms. So we'll start with head to foot, like in Hahnemannian schema. In head, there is a feeling of vertigo with sensation of something rolling round in head. There will be a stinging pain from within outwards and upwards, mostly left or in forehead. A coldness of vertex is also present. Hairs falls out and the roots of hairs are sensitive. And pimples on forehead near hair will be also present. Another remedy which has something similar like this symptom is natramure, in which the eruptions are present at the end of hairs, means at the roots of hair. Now the nasal complaints. There is a thick greenish discharge like thick plugs and crust. The appearance will be like there will be some yellowish saddle like appearances across the nose. Atrophic matter with greenish crust from anterior nose and pain at root of nose will be present in case of chronic nasal catarrh, especially post-nasal. Dropping of heavy lumpy discharges will be present, and the sputa or expectoration must be hogged through mouth. Now the eye complaints. In eye, we can see muscular asthenopia, means the black spots in the field of vision. Asthenic inflammations will be seen and in connection with uterine trouble. As we know that sepia is mainly a female remedy. It doesn't mean that we can't prescribe it to males, but mainly we can say that sepia is a female remedy. So there will be a connection with female reproductive systems everywhere. Aggravation of eye troubles will be in morning and evening. Arsal tumors can be also seen, and a symptom of ptosis or ciliary irritation is also seen. This ptosis kind of symptom can be also seen in posticum, and there will be a venous congestion of the fundus. Now the ear symptoms. We can see herpes behind the ears on nape of neck, and there will be pain as if from subcutaneous ulceration, and swelling and eruption of external ear can be also seen. The facial expression or facial symptoms, we can see yellow blotches which will be pale or yellow, and yellow about mouth. Acne rosacea can be also seen, and a saddle-like brownish distribution on cheeks and nose can be seen, which is known as chloasma. And this kind of symptom is normally seen during pregnancy. Now the symptoms of mouth. The tongue will appear white, and there will be a salty and putrid taste in mouth. The tongue smells foul but clears during menses. Swelling and cracking of lower lip will be also seen. Another remedy for this kind of symptom is natramure, in which the cracking of lips is in middle portion, means in the middle of lip. The pain in teeth from 6 p.m. till midnight, and which will be worse on lying. Now the GIT complaints. I'll start with stomach symptoms. There will be a feeling of goneness which will not relieved by eating, same as in carbo animalis. And this kind of feeling of goneness can be also seen in sulfur, but the peculiarity is that symptom will we can feel that symptom only at 11 a.m. in sulfur, but we can differentiate sepia only by that time modality. Another symptom we can see is nausea at smell or sight of food, which will worsen on lying on sides, mean the symptom of nausea will be worsened. And another remedy for this kind of symptom is colchicum. Everything tastes too salty. There will be nausea in morning before eating, and also there will be a disposition to vomiting after eating. There is a longing for vinegars, acids, and pickles, means the sepia lady wants to eat some sour things. Symptoms gets worse after milk, especially when boiled. Another remedy for this kind of symptom is rustux, in which the patient disagrees warm milk. Burning in pit of stomach is also present. Acid dyspepsia with bloated abdomen and sour eructations. In rectum are a bleeding at stool and fullness of rectum can be seen. There will be constipation and large hard stools are passed by the patient. There will be a feeling of ball in rectum, cannot strain with great tenesmus and pains shooting upward. And sometimes the stool is soft, but still there is difficulty to pass. We can also see infantile diarrhea, which will be worse from boiled milk, and rapid exhaustion will be also present. Pains shoot up in rectum and vagina. Now the urinary complaints of sepia patient. There is a red adhesive sand in urine. Same symptom we saw in lycopodium. There will be involuntary urination during first sleep. Means we can also prescribe sepia in children who have a complaint of enuresis, especially during the first stage of sleep. We can also see chronic cystitis. Cystitis means inflammation of the bladder. Uh, just because of this inflammation, there will be slow micturition with bearing down sensation above pubis. Sepia is also one of trios of offensive urine. Other two are benzoic acid and nitric acid. Now the male complaints, as I told and ma'am also told in beginning that we can't say that sepia is only a female remedy. We can also prescribe it in male as per the totality and simillimum. So in males we can see that the organs are cold and there will be offensive perspiration, and gleat will be also present, and it will be yellowish and stains the linens, and discharge from urethra only during night without any pain. Condylomata surrounds head of penis. As we saw that this medicine belongs to psychosis miasm, and that's why this will be seen, and there will be complaints from coition. Now the female complaints, which are the most important about this medicine. The pelvic organs will be relaxed. There is a common symptom of bearing down sensation as if everything would escape through vulva. Same symptoms can be also seen in belladonna, creosotum, leg caninum, ilium tick, natrum carp, and podophyllum. And the female must cross limbs to prevent protrusion or press against vulva. just because she thinks that the uterus or the reproductive system in her language that it will protrude out. So just to resist it or stop it, she sits cross limbs to prevent that protrusion and that symptom. Leukorrhea is yellow greenish with much itching. Menses will be too late and scanty, will be irregular, and sometimes it is very early and profuse with sharp clutching pains. A violent stitches like symptoms is present also, and which will go upward in the vagina from uterus to umbilicus. Prolapse of uterus and vagina can be also present, and morning sickness can be also seen. As this is a female remedy, we can also prescribe it during the uh, pathogenesis of hyperemesis gravidarum or sorry, vagina will be painful, especially on coition. Now the respiratory complaints. The respiratory complaints: dry fatiguing cough apparently coming from stomach, rotten egg-like taste with coughing. There will be an oppression of chest, dyspnea, which will worse after sleep and better by rapid motion. Symptom of cough in morning will cough in morning with profuse expectoration, which will salty in taste. Cough excited by tickling in larynx or chest. Now the symptoms in heart. This is not a remedy for cardiac symptoms, but we can see 2-3 important symptoms. That is, there will be violent and intermittent palpitation, beating in all arteries, and a tremulous feeling with flushes. In the back, there will be weakness in a small of back and pain extending into back. And between the shoulders, we can feel that there is something coldness or cold like. In the extremities, lower extremities lame and stiff, and tension as if too short. Heaviness and bruised feeling will be also present, and there is a restlessness in all limbs, twitching and jerkings night and day. And as I told you in the introduction portion that Sepia lady always wants to move, like she wants to do dancing and swimming and all. She wants to be active all the time just because of these restlessness. And she is a workaholic. She works from the morning to evening and all, so that she can develop a pain in heels. There will be coldness of legs and feet. Now the fever symptoms: there are frequent flushes of heat, sweat from wrist motion. There is general lack of warmth of body, means there is vital lack of vital heat of the body, and feet are cold and wet, and the patient feels shivering with thirst, which was towards evening. Now the skin complaints. There is herpes cystinetus in isolated spots. Itching will be present and which will be not relieved by scratching, and it will be worse in bends of elbows and knees. A symptom of cloasma is also seen, that I told that it is the yellow and brownish spots that is present around the nose and mouth. Herpetic eruptions on lips will be also present, and also about the mouth and nose. A peculiar symptom of ringworm-like eruption every spring comes on, and there is also hyperhidrosis and bromidrosis. Also, a symptom of ichthyosis can be seen, which will be having offensive odor. Now, the most important, mental symptoms. In mental generals, a peculiar word is for sepia, that is stasis, means the affections are stilled, the love doesn't manifest itself. And this stasis, we can say that when two poles of the energy in the body come together and cause a state of non-existence, this we can say that stasis has happened, and we can see this stasis in every symptom also. This is very common in women who has an over-vigorous husband. Over-vigorous husband means whose husband is very demanding, especially in bed. And this excessive sexual excitement and overindulgence brings on coldness of sepia lady. She is aggravated by noises, excitement, company, extreme irritability of tissues can be seen, and sometimes it becomes an extremely suicidal patient, and she answers questions in monosyllables, means if you will ask something, she will just answer in yes or no or a single word, that we call monosyllables. There is absence of joy, inability to realize that things are real, all things seem strange. As we say that sepia is especially known for her indifference. All this leads to that indifference, means the absence of joy and inability to realize the things are real. She thinks everything is not so real, and she lacks interest in everything. The patient's complaints are worse in company, yet she dreads to be alone, and she permits no opposition to her opinions, means contradiction aggravates this remedy also, and this kind of symptom is also seen in ignatia, and in ignatia this symptom is very much dominant. This sepia lady is easily offended, and irritability will alternate with indifference. I have added some more symptoms, and I took these from Essence of Metra Medica from George Witholkas. In that, he has discussed about two versions of sepia, in which we'll discuss about the first one. He has written that stasis word in very bold, that I described in last slide. She doesn't have natural curves. She is thin, flat-chested in the first version. Means that we studied in Ellen's keynote that she has masculine-like appearance. Also, in sepia, we can say we can see there is sterility or miscarriages, and these miscarriages happen mostly during third to fifth month. And this idea of stasis is also divided into three. That is the basic idea of Vitholka sir, that he divides every medicine into action at the physical plane, then emotional, and then mental plane. So we will start with the idea of stasis at physical plane. This stasis can be seen on uterus, and this will lead to the symptom that is prolapse of uterus. The muscles becomes weak because of loss of control of autonomic nervous system. Now the stasis on emotional plane. The stillness of emotions, feel without emotions. And there will be anger, irritability easily produced in sepia, and she doesn't feel true affection for children and husband. See, we can understand this symptom like if the husband is nice, if he stays away from her, she is gonna love him, and she is going to hate him if he demands sex or something like that. Means she has aversion of sex or opposite gender, we can say. And now the stasis on mental plane. There will be a symptom of dullness, and she feels that she's stupid, and she takes long time to answer a question. Also, she is absent minded. The sepia patient is very much indolent. Indolent means she don't want to say anything, she don't want to work, but still she works 24 by 7. Aversion to do anything because she feels weakness in mind, and there is a stasis of mind. There will be no emotions, she will be emotionless just because of the stillness of mind. And intellectual suppression is seen rather than detachment, which means an state where everything is so suppressed that they can't come back to their normal life. Now the second version of sepia. In the second version, she is a flabby, a little fat, beaten down, and washerwoman type. Now, let me tell you this washerwoman kind of symptom. We also say that sepia is a washerwoman's remedy, just because the complaints are brought on or are worse after washing clothes. Means if she will work in water for a long time, she will develop a symptoms like this, and that's why we call sepia as washerwoman's remedy. And the condition of stasis, stillness, stagnation is present, and there will be unresponsiveness to change. Male appears as female appears masculinized, and male appears feminized. But as we know that sepia is mainly a female remedy, but there will be the ratio of getting male and female patients will be only 1 is to 10, means 1 male on 10 female. This is the ratio of male sepia to female sepia. Uh, sepia lady will be apathetic, means no any interest in opposite sex. That's all what I told in the last slide also. She needs stimulation to function. This may be needed in any function, but especially in sexual functioning. That I have written in the last line, that she requires lot of stimulation in sexual functioning and has aversion to sex when approached. This kind of indifference we can also see in Ignatia. There is highly charged lack of emotion in Ignatia, and also great conflict resulting in tension and a steel-like hardness. But in Sepia, she is hard, cutting, sarcastic, penetrating, and she doesn't care as if she hurts anyone. It doesn't matter to her, she doesn't care about that. Now the modalities. Complaints of sepia aggravates in afternoon or evening from cold air or dry east wind, as we know that sepia is a chilly patient. Sexual excesses, because she has aversion to sexual relationships, and also she has aversion of opposite sex too. The complaints will aggravate at rest, moist weather, and before thunderstorm. And the complaints will be ameliorated mostly by warmth of bed, hot applications, and violent exercise. Now the remedy relationship. It is complementary to natrum mure and phosphorus. It is inimical to lachesis and pulsatilla, and we can compare it to murex, silica, and sulfur. Sulfur, it has a short explanation that the cuttlefish ink contains 20% sulfur, melanine, organic and inorganic substances also. But due to the 20% content of sulfur, sepia and sulfur have a relation and they follow each other. Now, the mnemonics of sepia: S for stasis, and also sensation of a ball in inner parts. E for enuresis and bedwetting in children, especially during first stage of sleep. Erethism, flushage of heat from least motion. And P for painful sensation of emptiness and all gone feeling in the epigastrium. Pressure and bearing down as if everything would protrude from pelvis. I for indifference, indolence, itching of skin of various parts and of external genitalia. A for anxiety, aversion to family, to those loved best, to sympathy, to company, and yet dreads to be alone. Now I'll discuss some 2-3 more points about sepia, especially the word indifference. It is generally seen in women of joint families where the sepia is subjected to varied interests of people, thus causing a condition of indifference which starts from outsiders leading to indifference to those whom she should love most. And we can see this indifference kind of symptom in natrum mure also, but in natrum mure it is due to hopelessness and mental languor, and in sepia it is because of the over demanding nature of their family members, or maybe husband, or maybe due to their children's. And there is a peculiar symptom of crying, means she has causeless weeping kind of symptom, which is also seen in calcaria. Both cry for similar reasons, but the differentiating point is that in calcaria she has similar fear that there is no hope, tries to hide it, and in sepia she can't explain why she is crying, and she has a fear that she is really not alive inside, and that's why she is very much frightened. So we are done with this, and for this presentation I took reference from Google, in which I referred to Britannica and I forgot the second one. Sorry for that. And second one is James Textbook of Madhya Medica by J.T. Patil for the second and third slide. That was introduction portion. And for the particulars, I took reference from Homeopathic Materia Medica by William Borick and Ellen Notes, and a little bit from Materia Medica of Homeopathic Medicines by S.R. Phatak. And for the essence, I took reference from Essence of Materia Medica by George Vitholkas. And for the mental symptoms, I referred to Lectures on Homeopathic Materia Medica by J.T. Kent. So this was all about Sepia. Now you can ask your questions in the question answer session. In the chat box, you can type. Thank you.
Thank you, Ankita. As usual, very detailed and very descriptive presentation. And you always take a little extra time to explain some uh, valid points like comparisons between remedies and certain interesting facts about the source of the drug. So, can you just go to the page on the constitution of Sepia in the beginning? Somebody wanted a repeat of that. Is there a Sepia mail? Yes, I'll come to that. Somebody wanted constitutional slide. I'll do that. Ankita, can you just put the slide on the yeah? Constitution of the patient, not the animal itself. So as you can see, Sepia is a very detailed and very interesting drug because the picture is so clear. It's not vague or it is not hidden. It's a very clear remedy. It's very apparent. It's very obvious. So we can understand different stages of the development of the constitution of Sepia. And based on that, we also understand that the complaints also developed accordingly. Yeah, doctrine of signature. So a sepia female, why it's a female remedy, but it does not suit a typical female. You look at a pulsatilla, you look at an ignatia, you will find, or even a lachesis, they're all typical female. A sepia is not a typical female. So according to convention or according to evolution, a typical female is someone who is delicate, who is curvy, who has wide hips for childbirth, who has certain I won't say, and I say sensitive, it doesn't mean that they are touchy emotionally. It means their senses are open or their senses are well developed for them to perceive the external surrounding. So this kind of sensitive in sepia is such that they can perceive their surroundings. They are aware of what is happening. Their ears, nose, eyes, skin, all these sense changes. Like the cuttlefish, they are very sensitive to what is happening around them, to changes. In that sense, they are very similar to phosphorus. But phosphorus is more volatile in their, in their expressions. Phosphorus is more exuberant, more extroverted. Sepia does a lot of her things on her own. So a typical female is expected to be docile, expected to be, I mean, these are all it's not the modern 21st century woman, but then in those days when the constitution was written down, Sepia is expected to be very sweet, very nice. A female is supposed to be married, settle down, have children, take care of the house, cook, clean, learn the fine arts like singing, dancing. So whatever typical, traits that a female is supposed to have. So a Sepia is not like that. Sepia is more outgoing, and sepia has traits that are more characteristics of male. So they say that sepia female is not a characteristic female. She's a different, unconventional female, more a masculine type. Also, her hips are narrow. They're not curvy like a regular female, which supports childbirth. So physical constitutional, she is slim build, she has narrow hips, and sepia is more suited to brunettes. Brunettes are ladies with brown or dark colored hair. If you see a pulsatilla, their hair is light colored. If you look at cilicia, they are also light colored, sandy head. So a sepia is more suited to darker head females, and so all these traits more, or they're more like hardened and tough females. So you see sepia in that line, and she, just like the sepia animal, she is not a very social person. It doesn't mean that she hates company. It's just that she doesn't feel the desire to have a large group, to connect with them, to hug them, and to greet them and get physically close to them. Yes, she can be in a group, she can have friends, but she'd rather have do it for her own pleasure, not for getting attention from them. And you see the animal itself, the sepia creature, the cuttlefish. It looks very ordinary. It is gray in color, or it is the male is zebra pattern, female is just a bland gray. But when give out that ink, they give out beautiful colors, the beautiful colors of the ink, and they can be used to form ink in the stationery industry. And the ink is also used as a camouflage. Camouflage is when you conceal your surroundings in such a way, or you blend into your surroundings in such a way that you're not visible to your enemy. So sepia is very good at blending into the surroundings, or they build a sort of a wall, or a sort of a concealment around themselves, so that they have built that distance between them and their enemies. Now, who are their enemies? Their enemies are their near and dear ones. I'll come to that. Let's finish with the constitution first. It's also called, it belongs to cephalopod. Cephalo means head, pod means legs. If you see a sepia, its tentacles are like this right on the head. So that's how it looks. It looks like it's got feet on its head. So it's called a cephalopod. And those are moving continuously. It has to be continuously on the move, which is why a sepia patient feels better by continuous movement, dancing, sports. So these things are all very typical for tomboy. Sepia is expected to be a tomboy, not a delicate sweet girl like a pulsatilla. So this is the constitution in short. It suits females. Is there a sepia male? It's a good question. So a sepia female is not typical of her gender. The same way a sepia male is not typical of a male. So a sepia male is not a typical male. He might be a little feminine. He might enjoy things which are considered a female's job, like cooking or stitching, or he might enjoy certain colors, pastel colors, or he might enjoy wearing pink. I'm not saying some people, like even think that a sepia patient, whether it's a male or a female, can be homosexuals. It is seen in patients. So basically, what is not typical of their gender, they do the opposite of that. That's how the constitution is. A sepia woman is also very intelligent. She's very outgoing. She's very extroverted. But at the same time, she doesn't particularly seek attention like a phosphorus or like a pulsatilla. Pulsatilla wants a lot of love, affection, physical hugging, and actually being in proximity to other people. Sepia doesn't care for that. Sepia only wants to do what is for their pleasure. I'll come to that. Prolapse of uterus, I'll tell you why that happens, Anand. So what happens is the female is somebody who is naturally interested in many different arts, many different vocations, many different occupations. So somebody who's like that, say at the age of 17, 18, she wants to go and learn 10 different languages. She wants to go and learn so many other things. She wants to take up sports. Such a person, if they're asked to get into the role of a householder, if she has to give up all that to come settle down at home, please her in-laws, please her husband, please her children, what happens is, yeah. So we don't have too much time today. I'll keep it short. We'll have to wind up by 7, 5, 7, 10. Okay. If there are any more things remaining, you can contact me. We could discuss that in detail on email. Yeah. So I'll just tell you quickly, the progress of the sepia patient is she starts being very creative, very happy, very, sensitive to her surroundings, and, doing whatever she likes, whatever she enjoys. Over a course of time, she is forced to stay at home, and she is asked to, be present, suppress, or give up what she likes in order for domestic responsibilities. it doesn't suit her. She's not happy about it. She does it. She's not a rebel or she's not stubborn like Celicia. She will do it. But then she doesn't do it with any particular interest. She'll do it because she has to do it. So the affection, feeling of affection, the love, the emotion is absent in a Sepia. So she will not go, she will have a child. She will, conceive with her husband and she will have a child, but she will not particularly care. She will not go and hug the child. She'll not go and kiss it. She'll just say, okay, fine, you're hungry, here, eat your food. Okay, you're tired, go sleep. She'll put it to sleep. She will not, try and do extra, put in the extra, uh, you know, take care or nurture the child. Over a period of time, this domestic life gets to her. And first, she's angry. There are many outbursts. She holds her husband responsible. She says, it's because of you that, I am suppressed. I'm not able to do what I want. I'm not the CEO of my company, or I'm not the boss of so many people at work. It is because of you. I'm a housewife. So she starts taking it out on her husband. And she starts getting developing an aversion to the opposite gender. So Sepia is not interested in sex, that has sexual indifference. And then from that violent outbreak, she slowly develops an indifference. After a point, you can only so much throw a tantrum. So what you do is she slowly starts withdrawing. She becomes indifferent. She says, okay, I'll cook food for everybody every day, but I don't care if they eat. I don't care if it tastes nice. I don't care if they are hungry. I'm just doing my job. I'm not really interested if they are, I don't really care if they are okay or not. So that progress, you see, from somebody who is capable to somebody who is pushed into doing what they want. Pushed is the word. They're not suppressed. They are pushed. From being pushed, they have violent outbursts. From violent outbursts, they have the last bit where the indifference develops. Because of that stasis happens. Stasis means a stagnation or a stopping of their symptoms. So because of that, there is inactivity of their organs. That is why you have prolapse of uterus, because it affects all the unstriated, the what do you call, the involuntary muscles. So the uterus becomes weak. All the organs that are associated with her gender, if you see the uterus, the vagina, the menses, and even during the different phases of life where her gender comes into play, that is your menarche, your childbirth, lactation, menopause, all these phases, she will undergo some difficult health. She will have some difficulties in her health. What causes yellow color of urine, Riddhi? It's because sepia, the ink, it's a very important role in cuttlefish. It is to do with pigmentation. So if you see the blood of the cuttlefish, it's a bluish green color, which is why in the patient also you have a lot of venous complaints, venous congestion. You have all those discolorations on the face, the mottling right over here, and there will be a lot of venous complaints like varicose veins and a lot of itching, all this bromhidrosis, all these things are said. So they're all disturbances in circulation, especially the venous circulation. So because, and see, it's a psychotic remedy. So what happens is there is an excess. Psychosis is supposed to be overgrowth and excess. So there'll be excessive pigmentation, there will be excessive discoloration, there'll be excessive outbreaks, which is why they have pimples, which is why they have skin complaints, which is why they have herpes, which is why they have what else do they have? They have urticaria. They have reactions to certain foods. So their reactions are all external. It's not internal. It's external. So even the urine color is concentrated. So the tendency for pigmentation and excesses. There is a lot to explain about sepia. Unfortunately, we are short of time. So if there are any more questions, please ask. I wish I could talk some more, but we'll have to keep it short, unfortunately. Any more questions? Any more doubts? I've been given another 5 minutes to wind up. So relation with Murex. So Murex and Sepia are both uterine remedies. So same similar bearing down sensation, weakness of uterus. So those are the relationships. You have to just read the modalities and the cause. Both are underwater creatures. Both are marine creatures. So Murex, if I'm not wrong, grows in the. I mean, it's found in the river, whereas Sepia is found in the sea. And Sepia, the cuttlefish, lives in shallow water, which is why the water is still warm in the surface. Whereas if you go deeper, it gets colder. So Sepia is a chilly patient, cannot stand cold, wet weather. It cannot stand the chilliness. So that's one of the reasons. And also because of improper circulation, again they are sensitive to changes in the temperature. They're not able to take the cold. It's called housemaid remedy because basically if they are forced into housework, forced into something which is not to do with the creativity or which is not to do with their job or with their area of expertise, they have absolutely no pleasure in it. And most of the time they don't care for anything with emotional attachment, which is why having sex with their husband is not something exciting because there is no emotion attached to it. It's only a bodily need. It's just like if you're thirsty, you drink water. If they have that physical need, they just try to fulfill it or satisfy it, or just to keep their husband, just to keep him quiet. Okay, fine, you want, let's do it. It's like that. So they don't have any emotional attachment, which is why they have no particular need. But at the same time, you'll find Sepia also, getting into sexual relationships, but there will be no emotional attachment. They might just have one night stands, or they might just have uh, short relationships, and they'll call it off. Probably more for the physical aspect than the emotional aspect. This is a very big contrast to Pulsatilla, where Pulsatilla wants a lot of emotional bonding, wants a lot of affection, wants a lot of attention. Same with Phosphorus. Phosphorus will wants to receive affection, will give affection also in return. So a very opposite remedy to Pulsatilla in many ways. And so it's very easy to compare and contrast. Also compare with Natramure. Natramure, there is a lot of fear of rejection and fear of emotional, what you call, emotional criticism or fear of rejection. So a natrum tends to behave in a similar way to Sepia, but the cause is different. Their behavior is similar, but the cause is different. Sepia doesn't care. Sepia is indifferent. Sepia is only bothered about their own needs, whereas a natrum is afraid of rejection. Natrum is afraid of disappointment. So they will both stay back, and they will both keep themselves at a distance from people that they love. And many times a sepia can either withdraw and have that blanket, like a darkness around her, just like the ink of the cuttlefish, or she can get violent and she can go and attack the person she loves. She will not attack somebody she doesn't care. I mean, some enemy, or she will not attack some random person on the road. She'll attack the people who are close to her, who are supposed to be close to her. Can you compare with lachesis? Yeah, that's a very big comparison. But lachesis is a separate remedy by itself. What I suggest is, Anand, when we do lachesis, that time I'll bring sepia up, okay? Then we'll compare that day, because lachesis is also very deep and a very detailed remedy. There is a lot of, duality and conflict in lachesis also. But the two things that are, in conflict with each other in lachesis is, you know, uh, it's different. Yeah, can we do natrimure next? Okay, wait. We'll decide next week's remedy quickly. Yeah. So the conflict in Sepia is between her occupation and her relation. So what she has to do and what she wants to do. Okay. That is always in conflict with each other, and that causes all her reactions and her complaints. Can we do, what shall we do next, Ankita? Suggest something. Natramura. Natramura
Yeah,
is a
ma'am, we can
great
do that.
one. But let's select it at a
Yeah,
time when we don't have to shut down for the next seminar.
I was
If
about to
there is
tell the
nothing,
same thing.
if there's nothing at 7:30 next Wednesday, we can do Natramure. Can I please suggest that we do Natramure the Wednesday after, not next Wednesday? I unfortunately have a slight personal commitment next Wednesday. Even I don't have too much of time to prepare. It's a very good remedy, and I like Natramure a lot. So can we choose something a little
Yes,
smaller,
ma'am.
something a little more spongier, huh?
There are still
Ah,
some people they can suggest that any other medicine they want to.
yeah, they're doing. Somebody suggested spongier.
I'm
Spongier is
really
nice. That's
sorry.
also,
I would,
huh?
I would apologize to every attendee today because every week I think we're facing the same problem of starting 5 minutes late because coming up is come a little late
What
and
we
then
can do is we
we're
can
not
all
able
log
to.
in at 5:45, and
Yes,
then maybe
exactly.
5 minutes to 6 we can all start.
Yes, that's
Is
my suggestion.
Euphrasia, it's not exactly a polycrest, it's a simple small remedy, Ritu. So maybe I can explain it in short in 5 minutes next time. Belladonna is a nice remedy. Shall we take a belladonna?
Yeah.
It's a very
Okay, ma'am.
common remedy, but then it's very underrated. We don't really find ourselves using belladonna on a daily basis. It's because it's because of its acute indications. Sorry for rushing Sepia like this. I would have talked some more about it, but please excuse us this one time. Maybe when we
Very
take
good.
up Lachesis, I'll bring up Sepia. When we're doing Natramure, I'll bring up Sepia more time. Just remind me that time. Okay, shall we lock down on Belladonna then?
Yes, definitely.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay,
ma'am,
until
Belladonna
the
will be
next
okay.
process. Shalom, Belladonna is good then.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
ma'am.
also a nice remedy. And interestingly, belladonna has some indications even for chronic complaints and all, because we always give it for acute complaints because of its violent and sudden symptoms. But we'll discuss belladonna in more detail next time. A very, very good selection of belladonna. It's quite nice. Somehow we always read belladonna only in the physical plane and leave it at that. So let's do a little bit more detail in belladonna.
Yes.
Chalo, for next week it's belladonna. Tomorrow
Belladonna.
we're having, yeah, tomorrow we are yeah, thank you everyone. Tomorrow we are having a session on Sora, Sora the miasm. Please attend,
Second
please
part.
tell your friends. We'd like to see a large number because it is one of the magnum opus topics of homeopathy itself, and we're all excited. We missed it last week. Yeah, waiting for tomorrow. Ritu, you were missing the last week, huh? Last two sessions you were missing. Good to see you back. Yeah. So Sora, please be there, and we'd like to start. Is anything there tomorrow? Is it lined up for this 7:30
Yes,
tomorrow?
I would. Yes, yes, yes. So I would request everyone to join in a little early. Make sure
Yeah.
you join in, but at 5:45, if you keep the time, probably we could start by 5:55, and then we
Hmm.
could have a lot of discussion afterwards. Post so we
Yes.
could end by 7:10 or 7. Yeah, 7:10 would be ideal to end.
Yes. Yes. And see, miasms are easier than you think. Don't get stressed out about it. Once we get the slides through, we'll start the question answer session immediately so that we can discuss it. I'll not spend too much of time with my explanations. Whatever you all want, start questioning me about it. So everyone, please log in at 5:45 tomorrow so that we can start sharp at 6. Anand, there is a link given up. I love homeopathy / webinars. Lycopodium is also put up, isn't it, Rashmika?
Yes, yes, yes.
No, it's put up. Just have a look, Anand. Just refresh the page a couple of times, you'll find it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ritu's Ankita's friend, huh? Okay. Good, good.
No, ma'am, we are connected on WhatsApp also. That's why she knows.
Okay. Okay, good,
That's
good.
wonderful. That's wonderful.
Thanks a lot
Okay.
for attending.
Thank you so much.
See you
Yeah.
all. So Sora
Yeah.
tomorrow and Belladonna
Yes.
next Wednesday. Please make a note and we'll post the link soon. And do come with, read a little bit from Herbert Roberts on Sora for tomorrow. Very, very good explanation. I'll also explain a little bit about the carbonitrogenoid constitution, which corresponds with Sora tomorrow. So you'll understand, you'll have a better understanding, you'll be able to identify the complaints, and you'll be able to relate to the miasm also tomorrow. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank
Great.
you for attending. Please tell your friends about tomorrow and do join us. So I'd like to end today's session if that is all.
Yeah.
And do keep in touch with us on Instagram for any further details or explanations. Sorry for the rushed farewell. We'll see you all
Yes.
tomorrow.
Very sorry.
All right. Yeah. So see you everyone.
Thank you
Bye.
so much. See you.
Yeah, yeah.
Good night.
Welcome. Bye.